Hello and welcome to Makeup by the Numbers. Although this is normally a cosmetic dedicated beauty channel today, I thought I would share with you why I actually recently went under the knife and what some of my justifications are. I do apologize in advance. I've got a lot in my notes, so I'm going to be looking down a little bit more than normal, but bear with me. Thank you. For those of you new to my channel, you probably may not realize that I actually have really strong views about body positivity. So getting laser lipo might not exactly jive with my messaging to you. I think there's a strong tendency for people just to say like, hey, it's not my body, not your body, you know, not your decision. But I don't really feel like that captures the whole story. It definitely has more of this like, I'm an island, I'm not part of the promontory, I'm not part of the main. Like we're all isolated from each other, and we're much more interconnected to that than that. Like even in the United States, which is a very individualistic society, we still have strong cultural patterns and strong cultural influences which influence our decision making, and I think that's really foolish to ignore. So I feel kind of like illuminating my story and why I made the decision to get lipo even though I am body positive. It's better to eliminate that than to let it hide and to grow and fester in the dark. That being said, there is absolutely 100% a stigma against people who are overweight or that they aren't ideal in some way physically, and I had to overcome that in my decision. What helped me with that was I kind of know my own limitations. I've done the no carb diet, I've done no fat diet, I've done no sugar diet, I've done less than 800 calories a day crash diet, and I've done fasting diets. I've done 2 a day exercises, cardio, strengths. It is not a lack of commitment on my part. If anything, I work just as hard, if not harder, than the typical person. That's absolutely a metabolism thing. Even in my best, I never really looked like my best. The calories in, calories out formula is just a little bit oversimplified. I mean, is it true at its core? Yes, but there's so much more that goes into your metabolism, that goes into your physique, that goes into weight loss and muscle building. It is grossly oversimplified, and it is oversimplified to the point that it's been weaponized. Like maybe if I just understood that, dummy, you need to eat less, then I would be skinnier, and that's not true. I'm not overweight because I'm stupid. And it sounds ridiculous, but the stereotype of the fat, dumb fat person is like alive and well. I am not fat because I'm stupid. I'm not fat because I'm unmotivated. I'm not fat because I'm lazy. Once I stopped insulting myself and I actually practiced body positivity, I got a... Apologies, I had to let my son in. I forgot to lock the door. So going back to what I was saying, once I stopped insulting myself, I was actually more inclined to get the surgery. You know, like you can't say you've tried everything if you haven't at least tried surgery. So I was willing to give that a go. Another question that like kept popping up in my mind, and so I kind of assume that it's popping up in your mind, is I kind of had to consider how getting lipo would impact my perception of myself as a mother. So how do I preach self-acceptance to my daughter and kind of like do as I say, not as I do? And I think I was able to resolve that one, at least internally, pretty easily. Because, you know, I loved my body before. I'm very appreciative of what it was able to do, and I still love my body. You know, I kind of compare it to the fact that my daughter has pierced ears. You know, she saw her friends and her teachers and her mother with pierced ears, and she wanted that jewelry and she wanted to adorn herself, and it's very age appropriate. She wanted unicorns and rainbows, and now she's into dragons, and at no point did I ever think to say, no, you need to love your earlobes the way they are. Like that would just be like really weird and ridiculous, right? it was very natural, and part of her love for self-expression that kind of that led to her wanting to get pierced ears. And it's the same thing for me. I made sure when I was getting the surgery that it wasn't kind of an underlying insecurity, and that I was just going, well, if I could just get this done, then I'd be happy. And I know that's a slippery slope. And I also knew that my mental health is really important to me. One of the reasons I am so body positive is because I have been suicidal in the past. Like, I have been there. I have been to places that I don't want anyone to ever go. And I know that liposuction is not the answer. Therapy and an antidepressant is going to be the answer, probably. So I had to really, do some soul searching to make sure I wanted it for the right reason. And fortunately, I'm at a really good place in my life right now where I felt comfortable getting lipo. I think if I'd actually loved myself a little bit less, maybe I would have hated myself a little bit more and not had the lipo. And I'm just so glad that's not where I'm coming from. I'm really glad that I can have a conscious conversation with myself about what I want from my body and what the definition of beauty is, and what I'm willing to have or do, to what lengths to go through to kind of get to that standard, and that I was able to make educated decisions about it, so that it wasn't, just this emotional knee-jerk reaction, but it was a conscious decision on my part to kind of prioritize myself and take care of myself. And if I'm reflecting that on my daughter, then I think, well, we're doing the best we can as a parent in this situation, and I'm teaching her, I think, a very wholesome model and very holistic model of loving her body. That being said, there's still a little bit of sexism going on here still, because, I do have boys and they just get left out of the equation, but it's equally important for them to have healthy modeling as well, and healthy conversations, not just to support the women in their lives, but for them as well. Like, boys can absolutely have body issues too. So I thought it was really ironic that I only have to model for my daughter, and my boys are just left to what? I now have to bear that burden too. No, their dad's in the equation. He's a great role model, and you can't make everyone happy, but you can make yourself happier. So, I did absolutely consider all my children in this scenario, even if my daughter most naturally came first to my mind. She is not only in my mind. Oh, and I almost forgot, actually, while I'm talking about children, this whole debate is hypothetical, really. What I'm going through every day is real and tangible. I have enough confidence in myself as a mother, and I know that I put my children's needs above my wants every single day, so that I didn't feel selfish in taking the time or money to care for myself. I don't know how they're going to respond or how they're going to react, if they're going to respond or if they're going to react to me having the surgery. If it ever becomes a salient issue in their life, I don't know that, and I can't control that. But what I can control is how I respond and how I take care of myself now. And that honestly will probably minimize the number of issues they have going on later in life. So definitely, if you're on the fence, or if you're using this to make any sort of decision making from yourself, don't use some hypothetical future possibility for how your children might respond as justification to put yourself last. Take care of your needs, or wants. I guess you can argue it's a want, but you have a role in sort of setting your own boundaries. And I think that taking care of the things that are here and now and have actual real impact is absolutely an appropriate boundary, versus sacrificing everything that you have for something that may not come to exist. So moving on to money. That was a difficult issue to sort of swallow for me, because I'm not used to prioritizing myself like that. In fact, when I did have depression, that sort of manifested itself in a way in which I wouldn't spend money on myself at all, any money. It was weird, and I actually had to do exercises to get used to spending money on myself. And again, I'm healthy, and I like to think that I'm recovered from that, but it was still, I think, a little bit of a sticker shock when I was okay, I really want to do this. Wow, it's going to impact my family, and I had to reconsider it all over again, even after I had made up my mind to do it. But I think there's two things that really swayed me in that regard. First, we weren't using the money for anything else. It's not like it was earmarked. It's not like I was actually taking it away from my family. You know, I work a job and contribute to our family income so that the entire family, myself included, can benefit from that salary. You know, I'm not the last person entitled to my money. And then number two, and I think this is really important and really applies to everyone, excuse me, taking care of yourself and taking care of your body is actually a really safe investment. I can only think of a few things that are more important or equally as important as like your overall health and wellness than the relationship you have with your body. So if you can afford it and if you're comfortable spending the amount of money, I don't necessarily think that should stop you in and of itself. The reality is, no matter what you ultimately decide, if you are considering getting lipo or not, isn't so much as what you want, but, you know, just no matter what you decide, science is going to be your friend. If you decide yay or nay toward any sort of body surgery, you need to overcome, you know, that initial emotional reaction. You need to think about things logically. You need to overcome a lot of ignorance and a lot of stigmatization if you want to talk about what it means for you. For me, I knew that I would never accept my weight. I can love my body and never accept my weight. I was never going to stop trying to be healthier and to stop trying to live a better life and to stop working out. Like, I was never going to be that person. But I was done being emotionally invested and, you know, kind of basically calorie counting. I honestly cannot remember the last time I ate a meal and did not think about how this was going to impact my diet. And that's just sad because I really like eating and it's taken a joy out of my life. You know, this sensory thing that we've been gifted with. Like, we've been gifted with a sense of taste, and it almost to the point where we feel guilty just for like living in our bodies and enjoying it. So I definitely hope maybe I can work on recovering that. Now, I'm still, you know, in the same dark color t-shirt I was, you know, the day before. I am still post-operative, so I'm still in pain. I'm still bloated. I'm still swelling, so I still haven't gotten to see the results. But I'm happy now. I was happy before, and I'm happy now, and I'm hoping that, you know, as the swelling goes down and I'm actually able to see results, that I'll just be even happier with my body. Before I close out, I do want to stress that, you know, this decision was good for me, and the decision to get lipo was the right decision for me. I am not trying to pressure you in any way, shape, or form into getting lipo. It is an ordeal. It is a big financial bite, and it is not the easiest thing to recover from. I am not comfortable. But like, I kind of went through my justification with you, and this is where I ended up, but I could very easily see had my situation been a little different, not having reached the same conclusion. So there is no right or wrong answer to this. Likewise, you know, some of the procedures that you might get done aren't for me. Like, if someone told me I need a rhinoplasty, I'd probably be pretty offended. Like, yeah, I know my nose is big. I don't need surgery because of that. You know, like, I really feel like we need to own our individuality and own our beauty. And for me, this is not the way I wanted to own it. I don't want a BBL or a breast lift or rhino or, I mean, I'm kind of tempted to like fix the asymmetry in my face, but, you know, for the most part, like, for me, lipo was my my guilt, for lack of a better term. Is my guilty pleasure. It wasn't necessarily, it's not going to be yours. We're all different. And that's actually kind of why I'm making this video. I am sharing my story and my decisions so we can start messaging compassion. I want to stop stigma. I want to stop stereotyping. I want to stop judging. The decision to get lipo done is just one part of my journey, and it's actually a very small part of my life. So, you know, just remember that kindness is king. You are beautiful the way you are, and surgery will not make you any less so. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Until next time, and remember, true beauty shines from within. Bye.